Hey everyone, we are live here on Fire Day. Oh my goodness, Brandy Holloway.
Holla!
Hey everyone, I'm Vanessa Lane. I'm the new CCO of the Phoenix Factor and Girls on Fire, and you are?
Brandy Holloway.
Woohoo! And we have an amazing guest. You can see her right now. This is Shay Rowbottom. I'm going to introduce her really quickly. You guys all wave to her virtual wave. I want you to start dropping those hearts, though. Drop those hearts first. She's an amazing, kick-ass woman. So she is the content queen. Shay Rowbottom turns founders and executives in LinkedIn video creators, providing you a steady stream of inbound leads each and every day. Let me tell you, if you haven't seen this woman on LinkedIn, you are missing out. She's an amazing woman, a fantastic entrepreneur, and let me tell you, her videos really kick ass. Shay, welcome to Fire Day.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's great to be here.
So Shay, for everybody that doesn't know you, and they should know you on LinkedIn, please tell everyone, what is Rowbottom Marketing? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, a lot of individuals and businesses struggle to create social media content that is actually effective and that's actually going to attract their target market and get them seen as an expert and get people to do business with them. So that's where I come in. I work with these individuals and businesses to create a content strategy that is going to attract those people and get them to pick up the phone and call them for business.
Brandy.
Awesome. Well, I came up with quite a few questions I actually wanted to ask, and on the back end of when did you actually originally get on LinkedIn, and were you always doing video?
Yeah, great question. I started with video, which is really kind of funny and unique. I went from not posting, not being active on the platform at all, to just releasing 3 original pieces of video content every week. And that actually started May 7th of last year, so a little over a year now. But I did have a profile for years. I mean, it just kind of sat there. It was more of a standard LinkedIn profile. I didn't use it. So the magic and like the growth didn't all start happening until last year, May.
Awesome. Did you have experience already creating the video and editing them, or did you just start it out?
Yeah. So that's what me and Vanessa were discussing briefly offline earlier, is that, I actually created video content for years for large blogs online, mainly Facebook pages with anywhere from 1 million likes to 10 million likes. I would do their video content. I would curate what would be high performing for their audience. How can I edit it so that it's more engaging? And I was really in the background and the behind the scenes of social media for years, just learning and acquiring all that knowledge. And of course, building my business, which was a really great experience for me because that was my first company I ever started. So I was a little bit more of an introvert with the content. I didn't do my own content, but yes, I definitely observed and soaked in the knowledge for years before deciding to post on my own platform.
Awesome.
And we talked about this, and I want to let people into a little bit of your backstory because you have such an artistic flair with your videos. They're funny and sometimes very serious, but there's always a point to them, and they come across very, very fun and engaging. Engaging is really the word I'm looking for, very engaging. So where did this artistic flair, and I know we talked about this, I want everybody to hear it online, where did all this artistry kind of come to fruition? I mean, where did it start?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the compliment, by the way. I have always had a really big personality, and ever since I was a little girl, I was very artistic. I was always, rounding up the neighborhood kids to put on a play, or writing poetry or painting, or and kids are creative, but I think I was really extreme. And I actually originally dropped out of college to be a musician. So I was already being called towards the arts, and I knew I wanted to do something more creative. It actually ended up evolving into learning video and marketing, which was super effective. But yeah, I think that I just have a bit of a natural knack for entertaining people. I wouldn't ever say that I expected to be so funny. Like, that's a big thing now is people are like, I love your videos because you make me laugh. Like they're not only educational, but they're humorous. That is like a relatively new development in my life. I think, and this is something I talk about a lot on my platform as well, is like depression. So I've struggled a lot with mental health in my life. And I actually have seen quite a correlation between depression and humor. So even though I was always artistic as a child, I was not necessarily funny. And I think the humor is something that kind of hit in my adult life as like, a broke millennial starting out, just frustrated with adulting. So I naturally kind of, I gravitated towards humor and using that as a way to cope. And then it kind of evolved into, it mingled its way into my content. So now I always try to bring an element of humor in my videos, because I've seen the result, not only that people appreciate them so much, but it helps me amplify my reach and get my message out there further when I have humor incorporated in my content.
Yeah, I love that you're telling that story, and I love that you're really transparent about it, because we bring this up, I feel like on almost every episode, but a lot of our girls that are in our Girls on Fire network, we keep saying make video, create video, and they say I'm introverted or I have anxiety, or they have a lot of those labels that we tend to wear. So what advice would you tell them starting out as far as how to deal with that if they're dealing with mental health, with anxiety, depression, or any of those things?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Brandy, because, even though I would say I'm naturally more extroverted and have historically been on stage and not been afraid to be in the spotlight, I actually had a huge artistic block starting out because I hadn't done any of my own content for years. So believe it or not, it was so hard for me to make that first video. I mean, it was like walking through sludge to get there. So I would never say that it's going to be easy. It's just the reality. It does feel like jumping off a cliff, and it is scary. You just have to do it. You have to jump off that cliff. You have to try. I will say it will get easier the more you do it. And once you see yourself jump off that cliff and kind of have the relief phase where you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't so scary. It does get easier, but I would never say that like starting is easy. It is scary. You are doing something that's outside your comfort zone. You are taking somewhat of a risk, but you never know unless you try. No one is on their deathbed saying, I regret trying. They say, I regret never having tried. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the only other thing I would add on to that or ask of you, because so many of your videos have gone viral. I remember one specific one that you did when I first found you on LinkedIn. I've been writing poetry and all kinds of things since I was like 12. And you did, I don't know what type of video to call it, but it was obviously your poetry or your writing, and you had almost kind of made it into like a lyric.
Yeah.
But it was a lot about how you felt about how rough things were in the moment. And I think telling that story, have you had a lot of people reach out to you and say thank you for posting that? Because we try to tell our audience and our clients, you could literally save someone just by being transparent yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say that when I first began to open up about mental health and specifically my own depression on the platform, I did feel really insecure about it. I did feel a little uneasy, like, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this. I'm a business owner. Maybe this really frames me in a negative light. And it had like the opposite effect. I received so many messages from people thanking me for opening up, other people who have depression and don't feel like they can talk about it or just feel stuck. I think it was a breath of fresh air to see a businesswoman on a professional platform like LinkedIn just being like, yeah, I have problems. And like, I take it one day at a time, but like, it can really be a struggle for me. And I think that just kind of liberates everyone. It's like someone broke the ice. Like, okay, someone's talking about it. Now we can open up a discussion and start to actually do something about it.
Yeah, I love what you also said. You did a recent post in the last week, I believe it was, about how do you handle negativity. And with the introduction of social media being at such a forefront of where we are in technology, I don't know what you find, Shay. I find, and I think Brandy finds, that often people will say things online that they would never say to your face. And you made a good point of how do you direct people. So what are your thoughts on that, on people's abrupt behavior on social media? And then also, if they didn't watch your video, how do you go about and react to what they say?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the first thing I always tell everyone is it's totally inevitable. It doesn't matter if you have 100 followers or 100,000 followers, like there's going to be somebody hating on your post trying to bring you down. A big lesson for me is, and this is not just social media, this just goes for anyone in life who's trying to bring you down, any hater, any negative energy you come across, like those people are hurt. And I think it's really important that we collectively, humanity, we start to shift our perspective on, people aren't just like inherently evil. They got that way because they themselves probably went through a great deal of pain. So for me, it's kind of like remembering in that moment, like how sad does that person have to be to want to take time out of their day to try to make me feel badly about myself? How sad do they have to be to reach that point? It kind of gives me, the person that's being attacked, this like immediate relief, because I realize, like, dude, like you're never going to have anyone who's doing better than you and who's feeling good about themselves try to take you down. It's just not going to happen. So, and I have reacted to a few of my haters with love. There's actually a few stories I've shared on LinkedIn where I've reached out to people personally, like, hey, why'd you say that about me? Or like, hey, did you ever think I'm just human and I'm trying my best? And sometimes it actually has resulted in them apologizing and being really kind. So I do think that fighting hate with more hate never works. And I do encourage people to, either just ignore the comments from haters, or, try to just remember that, like, they're sad and they're hurt, and that's why they're doing that in the first place. Responding back to them with more hate, even though it feels like the right thing to do, and we all have egos, it's not. You got to let it go. Don't give it your energy, and pray for that person because they're struggling.
Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I brought that up as well because after I'm on Instagram mostly. I do love LinkedIn, but that's Instagram's my jam, and I get it all the time, especially when I go live. It's people that I would never find afterwards anyway, and I have a little more thick skin, I think, just because of things that I've been through in my life. And I always remind the ladies, though, the fact that anger is sad's bodyguard is what I always tell everyone. So it's like if someone's really taking their time to do that, just know they're actually hurting about something and they're just projecting that. So because especially a stranger, I mean, they don't even know us. So just really got to walk away. But you're right. I think the biggest takeaway from that is it's going to happen. So maybe go ahead and prepare yourself for what you're going to do. And are you going to respond? I like the way you wrote the other day that sometimes you just start agreeing with them. You're like, yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right.
I will agree. I will agree. There's been specific times where people have said, like, you're a failure because you dropped out of college, which is not true, by the way. But, I remember, like, I replied to that guy and I just said, like, yeah, I am a failure. Thanks for letting me know. He never, like, it's like, even if he gets the sense that, like, okay, she's obviously being sarcastic, he's not going to come back. He's just not going to, it just kind of deters them. It kind of is like a fun way to just, like, nip it in the butt.
Sweet.
I do agree. I had this moment last year that happened. We were live with a chef. You may have saw the episode. I don't know, Brandy. And they just crucified him. This young chef, all these chefs in a chef community just crucified him for what he was cooking and what he was saying and what he was speaking. And we did the same thing. We're like, we're happy to listen to your opinion. Why don't you come? We'll fly you out. We'll put you up in a hotel room. You come live with us. You cook live in front of all your friends. You're right.
Wow.
You come out. We'll pay for everything. And literally there was like, zip. Oh no, I couldn't possibly. I can't take the time out. And we literally said, come out. Come out.
Yep. See, I've had very similar experiences, actually.
So yeah. So do you have any questions?
Yeah, so I have a couple more. One is for everyone that's watching and they're not on LinkedIn. We really hope you guys will hop over, first of all, and follow Shay and understand what she's doing on LinkedIn, and that you can really do those on any platform. But what I'd love for you to do is it kind of explain to them what's so unique about LinkedIn and why really truly anyone could do what you do, not discounting what you do, but they could do it. They could build up to that. But what's so special about LinkedIn?
Oh gosh, LinkedIn is amazing. I would say number one, the most important thing that sets LinkedIn apart from other social media platforms is just the user base. Pretty much all the users on LinkedIn are educated. All the users have, money or access to money or resources, and they're in a business mindset when they're on LinkedIn. I think I just heard yesterday that the average income of a LinkedIn user is over 6 figures, which is insane. That's not, you won't find that on Instagram or Facebook or these other platforms that are not designed to be professional platforms. So people gravitate towards those for more personal, to connect with friends, to watch funny memes, whatever. LinkedIn, it's like people go on there because they're in a business mindset. They're looking for a job. They're looking for an investor. They're looking for a partner. They're looking for somebody to solve their problem. So as a, B2B company, you're already in a really healthy position just being on that platform, given that someone is likely already on the prowl looking for your services. And the other, it's a twofold. So the user base is better here than any other platform for trying to conduct business. And the other part is the organic reach is also more generous than any other social media platform at the moment, because in a sense, LinkedIn is still new. It's still on the up and up, especially with the advent of video just being introduced 2 years ago. So what LinkedIn is doing is they are trying to encourage the users to engage. They are trying to encourage the users to create content and be active on this platform. Because believe it or not, most people with LinkedIn profiles don't even log in monthly. Most LinkedIn profiles just sit there. It's a resume. Maybe they'll hop on, when they get a job. It's not everyone who has a LinkedIn profile is actively using it. And so in order to encourage people to do that, LinkedIn is now showing your content to a lot of people in the feed, and specifically video. They want to encourage users to do video. And if there's only so many videos to pull from to show in the feed, your video has a really good chance of showing up in the feed because they want to show it to people. They want to encourage people. So that's another thing I always tell people that purchase my program is like, hey, when you're starting out a video series on like Facebook or Instagram right now, it can be really painful because it takes a long time to grow organically right now. And those first 10 videos won't really go anywhere, and it might leave you feeling kind of stuck. Versus LinkedIn, if you just get going right now and start releasing some videos, I promise you within a couple of weeks, you're going to see thousands of views, lots of comments, people come into your profile to connect with you, reaching out. It's almost instant, the gratification, which is what we all want in 2019, right? So if you're feeling discouraged, get on LinkedIn and just try. I'm telling you, this is the experience I've had. So many people have had. It's like, it turned my life upside down. After just a few months of posting, I realized there's a whole business here. There's so much opportunity on this platform. And I don't want to scare people. You'll always be able to grow organically if you have quality content, but it's never going to be easier than it is right now. The time is right now. The generous algorithm is happening right now. If you're in B2B and you're doing paid ads on Facebook or Instagram, but you're not doing any organic content on LinkedIn, the audience is free right now. The audience is free, and it's the best audience on any social media for your B2B service.
Awesome.
So we talk a lot about repurposing our content, and with video, there's so many avenues. So I know a lot of our listeners right now, and by the way, hey, Andrea Gaines, she's watching. Thank you so much for watching and the love. She dropped you a heart, Shay. For the Daniel, hey, Daniel, Shay is the bomb. Shay is the bomb. That's what he just said. Shay is the bomb.
Thank you, Daniel.
What is your thoughts? What is your thoughts on repurposing? Do you repurpose a lot? Do you shoot lots of things and then you put them together later?
Yeah, I love repurposing. My whole last company that I started on Facebook was repurposing. We didn't even make money. We didn't even turn a profit off the first sale of a video. We made money on the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth sale. So we repurposed content all the time, and re-edited it and resold it. So I'm totally down with that. I would say, for me personally on LinkedIn, I would really like to see them create a video tab on the profiles, because right now the way LinkedIn is structured, it's kind of like you post it and then it's gone forever. I mean, people technically could go to your posts and sift through, but they don't right now have an easy way to access, like, what did Shay post at the beginning of June? What, you know what I mean? It's not all in one place. So because of that, I actually feel like there's more opportunity for repurposing on LinkedIn right now, because there's a good chance a lot of your followers haven't seen everything that you've been releasing, especially if you're someone like me who posts every day. And the other part of that is repurposing is gold, because you're able to already understand what the original performance of the piece of content was. How valuable was this? Was this like above average performance for my page? Did this go totally viral for me? Or did this kind of flop? That data, that factors into your decision making when you decide what to repurpose and what probably, should get seen again by the platform.
Awesome. I was actually going to mention, I caught onto that really quickly when I got on LinkedIn, and I started telling people to use a hashtag, because you can search hashtags. So if you come up with your own signature hashtag on your video, so I kept using hashtag creating an inferno, and I could go and put that in, and all of my videos would pop up at one time. So something that could help them. And then we had a inner circle call with Trevor Turnbull, and he led us into some other options to actually put them in our summary, some things that you want to keep around for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And I do that too. I have in the summary some of my best videos linked. It actually directs people to my YouTube page. But no, that's so true.
Smart.
So speaking of YouTube, I see that you also are a multi-platform entrepreneur, womanpreneur. You're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. What are your thoughts on YouTube? I know people are interested to know.
Yeah, I mean, I would not consider myself like a YouTube expert. That's kind of always been a platform that's in the background for me. Even at my last agency, we primarily worked on Facebook, a little bit of Instagram, a little bit of YouTube, but it's not, it's not been something that historically I've worked so closely with. But I did create a YouTube because I was getting, kind of like I just explained, I was getting a lot of people who said like, hey, I would really like to see your videos in one place. Is this on YouTube? So I started uploading all of them to YouTube. But the funny thing is I really didn't invest so strongly into the other platforms, just because I saw how much greater the reach and opportunity was on LinkedIn, that I didn't want to deter myself from going all in on LinkedIn. I was like, you know what, don't worry so much about the other platforms right now. It's harder to grow on them anyways. Just focus on LinkedIn, go hard on LinkedIn, 100% on LinkedIn. And that's really what I focused on for the last year. And now, I mean, it took about a year of growing a following and really being consistent, but now I'm starting to see that overflow, where people are going to Facebook to follow me. People are coming to my YouTube to subscribe. Instagram, my Instagram's been blowing up, So now I'm definitely buckling down and figuring out a specific strategy for each platform so that I can grow on all fronts. But I think that starting out, a lot of people get overwhelmed with having to post on all the platforms, and they don't know what should be their domain. To those people, I would say seriously, especially if you're B2B, seriously, just focus on LinkedIn right now. And once you get a little bit bigger, you've got have a little more clout, then it would be a good time to okay, now I'm going to invest in specific strategies across all platforms.
Nice. You have a question.
Yeah. So Daniel Nunez asked, what are your thoughts on subtitles like subtitles? I use AutoCap because I'm an Android user. I can't use subtitles. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, great question. I actually have a video coming out on this soon, because so many people ask me about my video editing and what app I use, what program I use. So I have heard of Subtitle. I have a lot of friends who use that, and they say it works great. Personally, don't have any experience, because all of my videos are actually edited manually in Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects. figure out a way to subtitle your videos regardless. Like, you don't have to do it like me, where it's like a little more high maintenance and you're actually going into a program to manually do it. There is subtitle, there's the YouTube way. You can download the auto subtitle video that happens on YouTube. There's a lot of different routes, but I would say figure out an easy system that you can maintain with your videos to always have captions, because 85% of social media users are without sound. And unless they're really good at reading your lips, they're going to scroll past your videos. So always subtitle. And yes, I think subtitle is a fine choice.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway for everyone that's watching, is that I don't remember what the number, but there was this pretty astounding number of people that are actually deaf or hard of hearing that are on LinkedIn.
True.
But also a lot of them are sitting in a cubicle and they can't have their sound on, or maybe in a restaurant. I mean, I do it all the time, and I'm that annoying person that has my sound up.
Right.
So Daniel Nunez has another question. He said, what are the best ways to utilize video platforms such as YouTube and Vimeo? Any recommendations on video editing apps?
Well, like I said, I do Adobe Premiere manually. So that's like my specialty. I edit there, and I have editors that help me. But in terms of video, if you're going to be creating videos consistently for your business or your brand, and you've already decided like this is the route I'm going to take, you need to focus on LinkedIn. I get YouTube, like I get Instagram, those are important, but your video will reach so many more people if you post it on LinkedIn. So that should be your go-to. And then off of LinkedIn, over time, if you're releasing these videos consistently, then you'll be able to see, okay, this one did really well. This one's high performing on LinkedIn. I'm just going to post those on my other platforms because it's harder to gain traction on those platforms. So I'm going to use LinkedIn as like almost a test ground, and I'm going to take what performs well there and invest in my other platforms with that content.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That's it.
Awesome. So we have, Megan Walker is watching, and Sarah Gaynor is watching as well. Hey, girls, if you have questions, they're giving you hearts right now. Thank you so much for watching. But if you have questions, please let Shayna, she's giving you a heart back. Aw, she's giving you a heart back. And I think that's something to think about, Shay. You hit it right on the head, is you figure out what platform works for you. And right now, video is a great place for LinkedIn. It's you can hit so many more people. And down there introducing the live component is in beta. Because I tell people, and we tell people all the time, you can't also worry though about how many views and how many people are watching. Although videos are seeing more traction on LinkedIn, you're seeing more people that could possibly scroll through and possibly engage with you than on something like a Facebook. Facebook seems to be almost hindering you in some ways, especially as a business side of things. And we now are getting to the point where everyone's just posting on their personal page because the business isn't seeing as much traction on that. What are your thoughts on seeing the movement on some of the platforms like the Facebooks, like the Instagrams, where they're manipulating things because they want to keep it personal, but people want to use it for what they originally signed up for. They wanted to use it for a business component.
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, like I worked on Facebook for years. I worked so heavily in that world, and it is tough what's happened with the algorithm. It is tough. I work with a lot of page owners who really had a killer starting out. Facebook was so generous. They showed their content to like 90% of their audience. That algorithm doesn't exist anymore. And a lot of these pages that have actually grown over the past year or so, they have maybe 1 million more followers than they did a few years ago, are actually not able to make as much money as they were previously just because of the change in the algorithm. So Facebook is tough. I would say, it's in many ways it's peaked in a lot of senses, where like in order to compete with the big dogs and get your content seen, you oftentimes have to pay to play. So, and you do make a good point about the personal pages. I actually have found that I still post on the business page, but I'll share it to my personal page, and just like sharing across to the personal page makes a big difference when trying to grow Facebook business pages. And the other things that can help is actually going live, because live videos on Facebook reach more people now than organic, and that's something that a lot of business pages still aren't utilizing. But yeah, again, just get on LinkedIn. Like you got to do it. You got to take everything you're doing. And yeah, I mean, it's just, there's no better time. There's no better platform. Like, especially if maybe you're like a business that's like really been heavily focused on Facebook and Instagram for so long that it's hard for you to like even fathom LinkedIn. You're kind of like, LinkedIn's for old people. LinkedIn's weird. Like, don't even worry about making a new strategy. Just take all your old content that you've made over the years for your other platforms and just start posting it on LinkedIn. Like, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the result. And it could open up like a whole new channel for you where you don't have to like stress about Facebook anymore and the algorithm and like, oh, I don't reach people.
Well, we're actually taking a big group on Sunday through a content creation course. We're showing them 365 days of content. So they have no excuses. And a lot of that's one of our things. It's like, hey, go back and look at some of your posts that have gotten the most engagement, regardless of the platform. And, take that and break it down into more content. And a lot of people make it rocket science, but your audience is telling you what they want to see.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so it's that time. I want to, Sarah, Debbie Dern Parker says, I love that. Thanks for all your tips.
Yeah,
thank you,
absolutely.
Debbie. All right. So we're going to do a little rapid fire questions. I wrote some down.
Okay.
Okay, and you can add some more.
Okay.
So first off, let's start easy. Okay. I'm going to start
do I just give a yes or no? Yes or no? Or do I?
Just one, yes or no, or one of the answers. Just one of the answers, one of the others. So, for example, if I were to say LinkedIn or YouTube?
LinkedIn.
There you are.
Oh, beer or wine?
Wine. Hello.
Ooh.
Yes. We're wine.
We're wine. Live versus recorded?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I think recorded, but I still think that live should be utilized a lot. But recorded is really solid.
Yeah. So then that kind of goes in the next one. I've seen so many of your videos and they're so amazing. So are they all planned or some just super spontaneous? Which way you like to go?
Now they're all planned. I think I actually did release a spontaneous one a week or so ago, which was the first time I'd done like a video on the fly like that in a while. But I don't want to discourage people from feeling like they need such rigid process for creating a piece of content, because I am doing that now and everything is really planned out beforehand and calculated. But when I was starting out, I did like a lot on the fly. I would just like be in my office day to day, and if something came up that kind of like triggered me, I'd just like whip out my cell phone and film about it. And I had a ton of success doing that. So I do plan everything out now, but it's totally doable to do things on the fly. And I encourage it.
So this is a little personal note. PJs, an at-home movie and a glass of wine, or rock concert with friends?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's number one. I'm getting old, you guys. And I don't really like rock that much. But I am starting to really appreciate the simple things in life, and being in the comfort of my own home with my husband, just relaxing and feeling safe is definitely priority these days.
I can relate. And I think what a lot of people have to realize is, especially with what you're doing, it takes a lot out of you. I mean, we love what we do. But the energy you put into it, just being on camera and then on the back end, curating and editing and putting all those things out in the plan. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, you don't get it because you're an entrepreneur, you only work 20 hours a week. And I'm like, more like 200. I mean, I'm just pretty close.
Yep,
all right,
exactly.
And one of the last ones is, would you rather go for the entree or
dessert?
The entree.
She's right up there with you, because I think I'm going to go for chocolate.
Right. I'm really not a sweets girl. I've never really been a big sugar buff, but I do love carbs, and technically carbs are sugar. So.
Send Shay bread.
So we have some more questions. So Sarah Gaynor is watching, and she says, hey, Shay, So my LinkedIn is a lot more active than my husband's, but I post a lot of content that features him because he is the expert being a chiropractic doctor. Should I share more content featuring me since it's my page?
Yeah, that is an awesome question. So I'm assuming this woman is somewhat of a partner helping her husband's chiropractor business is what's going on, but she's promoting through her channel. Okay. Yeah, I would actually encourage her to keep posting because there is quite a bit of data to suggest that videos performed by women perform better on LinkedIn. So actually
Oh.
it's overwhelmingly women tend to do better. So it's actually a benefit for him that he has a female representative in his company right now who can do these videos on behalf of his brand, because there's actually a good chance, I understand his page is smaller already, but there's a good chance that even if his page was your same size, his videos wouldn't go quite as far because people love seeing ladies. So I say keep going.
Awesome.
Awesome. So we have a few more people. She said, yes, what would be a good ratio between content, either me or him? So she answered that. So also we have Tiffany Cummings is watching, Chris Connor, Tracy Hullimer. They are all chiming in and saying thank you so much for your expertise. So that is fantastic.
Of course,
so what else do you
yes.
want to ask this one? We're getting towards the end. So is there anything else that you're burning to know, because she has to leave right at 1:45, and we want to make sure that she tells everybody about all of her fabulous social media platforms they need to subscribe.
I just want to say, I really hope everyone goes and watches and understands that there's nothing stuffy about LinkedIn. Go watch Shay's videos. Go back, even a good, I would say 6, 7, or 8, because also the content varies literally from video to video so much that you kind of understand how to grab your crowd that way. And you don't have to copy Shay, but you can definitely emulate her because she's doing such an amazing job.
Right.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Brandy.
So,
You're welcome.
So Shay, I want you to go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where they can subscribe to every place that you're on, where they can be your best friend, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is Shay Rowbottom. So linkedin.com/in/Shay Rowbottom. That is my domain, my primary channel. All of my content goes out on LinkedIn first. So even if you subscribe to the other channels, you got to get on LinkedIn because that's where you'll see it go live. And then same with Facebook, facebook.com/Shay Rowbottom, Instagram/Shay Rowbottom, and YouTube, same thing. If you're interested to learn more about my business and the actual work that I do for businesses, you can visit my website at www.shayrowbottom.com. And yeah, I really hope that I inspired some people today to get on LinkedIn, because I do think that it's still perceived as a dry and not very effective platform. I want you to remember that because so many people still feel that way about the platform, it opens up an opportunity for those of us who aren't dry and stuffy and who do want to post meaningful content on it. So I understand, the sort of like stigma with LinkedIn and how it might not seem like so exciting, but keep in mind that there's no competition right now. So just get on, just try it out. You never know. It could be just like me. It could change your life completely.
Awesome.
Fantastic, fantastic. So it is that time of day. We know that we want to make sure that we are conscious of your time. We want to thank you. Thank you for your time and your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so great.
So everyone that is watching on the Girls on Fire Network, on our pages, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining Shay. Again, she is just a wealth of knowledge. She is a fantastic video creator, a fantastic womanpreneur, a fantastic entrepreneur. She's just a badass in general, let me just tell you. And please go follow, please go like, please subscribe, and then reach out to her if you have questions. And that's what she's there for. Again, she is Shay Rowbottom. She is the content queen on LinkedIn. She is moving and shaking. If you don't know who who she is, you are missing out, and you are
Brandy Holloway with the Phoenix Factor and Girls on Fire.
And I'm Vanessa Lane with Girls on Fire Phoenix Factor, and I do a little bit for my husband on View It, Do It as well. So thank you, Shay, for joining us live here for Fire Day. Everyone got a little glimpse of who you are, and we will see everyone next week
Next Friday.
for another guest.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shay.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
ladies.